Hello, boys and girls. All right. That last assignment with all those definitions on it. Okay, for those you handed in, good job. But after looking at those and looking at those and looking at those, uh, sovereignty has kept popping up in my mind. And looking around, doing a little research on my own, I got to thinking, how is that relevant to you guys today? Okay. To review, we said, you guys said, your research said, and defined sovereignty as supreme power, authority of a state to govern itself. Well, if you go back and remember, a state basically is a area that has defined borders and kind of has control over itself. So, technically, the United States is a state that governs itself, has the power to do so, the supreme power to do so. Uh, a sovereign citizen of the United States. Okay, and again, how is this relevant? What does this mean to you today? Okay, found a good article which I've attached, and you will have to read. And basically, we already know the United States is a sovereign nation. And really, according to this article and my own opinion, sovereignty's pretty simple. Pretty simple. Okay? The articles, the way they actually put it, their words may be a little bit more eloquent than mine. Sovereignty is a simple idea. The United States is an independent nation governed by the American people that controls its own affairs. And the American people adopted the Constitution and created the government. We elect our own representatives. We make our own laws. Here's the deal, though. We got to remember about those founding fathers, which, okay, yeah, that was then, this is now. But to get to this is now, we got to talk a little bit about the founding fathers. What they knew was that the United States had to have sovereignty to get to where they wanted to be. Because if you don't have sovereignty, you cannot have independence. Okay? If King George could have come over and, still been able to say, hey, boys, I'm putting a tax on your tea here, you're back where you were before you declare your independence. Okay? So without sovereignty, there is no independence, because you're looking at, we broke away from a monarchy, a king. Okay? Founders obviously, were big believers in sovereignty, without a doubt. We fought for it. They thought they liked it enough and thought the idea of sovereignty was so important for the way they wanted to live their lives, build this country, and the future for their families, their people, the country in general, and, possibly, maybe one day, perhaps the world. Who knows how far they were thinking. They fight for it. Revolutionary War. Okay? We revolt from England, declaring our independence. But here's the question. Why does it still matter today? We've already declared all this stuff. Who cares? It's in writing. So there you go. Who's going to mess with us? We're the United States. Now, what's going on today is kind of crazy. And before I go any further, I'm going to read this George Washington quote for you. He said on November 2nd, 1783, "It is universally acknowledged that the enlarged prospect of happiness opened by the confirmation of our independence and sovereignty almost exceeds the power of description." That's amazing. That's saying, it's so great. It's so, we're going to be free. So, they were under this harsh rule, and it meant so much to them that they couldn't even describe words. They had no words. George Washington was a president. He had no words. Okay? Now, today, before and our founding fathers were worried about, other countries, England coming back and doing these things to infringe on our sovereignty. So those things, we don't have to worry about that with England today. Pretty good relationship there. So how's it relevant today? Well, there's new threats, okay? There's international organizations, okay? And, you're talking about, conglomerations of countries getting together to, form bigger organizations. And they kind of are looking to reshape the international system or turn it into an international system, okay? And what would happen, nations would have to give up sovereignty to do this. States or nations would have to give up sovereignties to do this, and then you're going to be governed by a global entity, by a global consensus. Independent sovereign nations would be replaced by what they are calling transitional organizations that reject national sovereignty. I just noticed that on there. Yeah, I cut myself again, shoving in the exact same place as before. Now, there's other countries out there putting pressure on the United States to bow down to this global consensus. We can't do that because that respects or disrespects our sovereignty. And what do we say earlier? Without sovereignty, we can't have liberty. Okay? So, and this would just be such a bad thing. You would be leading towards, basically a one world order if you allow that to happen, which I don't see countries allowing that to happen. Most certainly there is a global economy and a global network of many things, but when it comes to this, I don't see that happening. Sure, there definitely could be arguments that, this would just streamline the whole process, and you'd still be the United States, but we'll leave you alone. But there's some things that have happened over the last 20-some years that are not right and infringed upon some American citizens or citizens. That they violated the spirit of the Declaration of Independence and basically more or less molested our sovereignty as United States citizens. Read the article. You're going to have 3 questions on there to answer. and to answer them, you will have to read the article. If you have any questions, you can always call upon me. I'll be there. That was horrible. Knocked it up. Anyways, hope you enjoy this bicycle.